Grand opening, how are you today? I hope your day is well, great, wonderful, and prosperous. We're going to start this reading off with a with a prayer, and then excuse me, because it's Mercury retrograde, and it's going to be like this until like the 23rd. So you're going to hear a lot of people mixing up their words, correcting themselves, catching themselves. So it's imperative to be mindful, okay? Because again, that shows the human side of imperfections. Okay. We want to thank God in the name of Jesus. We want to thank the Holy Room for all that He do. We want to thank Spirit for the gifts. We want to thank Spirit for the protection, the discernment, the guidance. We thank Spirit for our relationship with Spirit, the sacred union. Yes, we do. We thank Spirit for the love that Spirit brings and the love that Spirit bestows. We thank Spirit for revealing things. We thank Spirit for the revelation. We thank Spirit for the connection and the frequency, right? We thank Spirit for recognizing us as we recognize Spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ashe and Amen. Oh, Spirit, please. We seek clarity, discernment, guidance, wisdom, and understanding. We also seek the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. We also ask Spirit to separate the energy, remove our personal energy and opinions from the situation so we do not have an interference on whatever the message Spirit is bringing. Thank you, Ashe, and Amen. Okay? In the name of Jesus, we thank Spirit for that. Chosen Collective. Chosen Collective. We're going to come from, where are we at? Exodus chapter 12, verse 25. And you're being led by Spirit and your ancestral lineage to the promises that God has provided a very long time ago. Your lineage has fought, and they knew and believed that you will help them cross the other side. Your ancestors want to thank you for respecting them and honoring them. The Olarum, Jesus Christ, and your divine lineage want to thank you for respecting your elders. And the key part about it that they love is that you listen and you follow their direction. Your ancestors knew that you would be the one to make a difference. They tipped their hats to you. The ladies nod their heads to you. See, God, in the name of Jesus, is ordering your ops to leave you the fuck alone. They're also ordering them to leave this energy, this negative energy alone, this occult shit that they're doing. Okay? But we're going to come from Exodus chapter 12, verse 25. And it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land which the Lord will give you according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. As long as you in alignment, as long as you doing the service and the will of your higher self and your greatest good, and one of them is obedience and mannerism, then, and you keep the promises of God, and you spread the message and you share awareness, and you give guidance, you in spirit already have a contract. But this is, and it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land. You're in the land. The promises have been fulfilled through you. You was who the prophets prophesied about. You made it to the land which the Lord will give you. Now your blessings are about to start coming in, according as he has promised. Keep your faith, keep your attitude in check. Remember me, do this in remembrance of me. It said keep Passover as a memorial. So you do sacred things in remembrance of the other room of God, whoever you call him, right? Your higher power through your higher self, right? That ye shall keep this active service, the Beatitudes, Jesus Christ. Being kind, meek, gentle, loving, encouraging. You know, love is the highest vibration, but the first frequency is God, is spirit, right? Chosen collective. Your Opps is being ordered to leave. Pharaoh was ordered to leave, right? He was ordered to leave. Your Opps is being ordered to leave. Pharaoh had the people in oppression. The person who who attempted to have you in an oppressive state or tried to snuff your life, they are being ordered to move due to higher power dealing with them on a higher note. So, depending on your spiritual status, depending on where this situation is for you in the 3D. 742. Okay, we're making it. So you transmuted fear on your itinerary experience, right? And you remained a sacred vessel through it all, even in your lowest vibration, right? And that brought a shift to the energy, right? So I brought up the first frequency being air, that's spirit. So it's been a shift in the frequency. More people in the world is starting to raise their vibration, whether if it's through yoga, meditation, removing themselves from toxic situations, pouring into themselves. But people is doing things towards their highest good, for their highest good. And a lot of the people has been migrated to the USA. So that means the USA is a high spirit right now. Yeah. What's this Holy Spirit? Somebody doubted that what's this? Mystical knowing, rooming, breaking boundaries, personal experience of God. So somebody broke some boundaries, right? Somebody broke somebody's boundaries, and somebody is also having a personal experience with God on their itinerary spirit. Or because somebody broke some boundaries, they're having a personal experience with God, God whooping that ass. Because again, I saw in a vision a tsunami. I also saw in a vision that little fire starters everywhere, right? It's a tsunami for these little fire starters, and you know why these little fire starters uh, are going through these tsunami. Again, be aware of the bullshit they cause when they try to step into your energy force field, right? A mystical knowing. You know, a mystical knowing, that's mysterious, right? So a mystical, so it's a mystery. So you know about what's hidden. You have an inner knowing about everything that's going on pertaining to you in this energy, not to mention the universe, right? What's this mystical knowing? Jesus. You know that somebody lost a sacred connection. Sandalin and Metatron or something like that. Yeah, Metatron and Sandalophin. Sacred connection. Synchronicity, divine connection, understanding lessons in the reverse. So you know the person who broke the boundaries, right, is being dealt with God, right? And they're not in alignment with the divine, right? So again, karma has been released here, right? You're aware of it. Again, on this itinerary experience, right? So you know what's up on this itinerary experience. Yeah, see, somebody called themselves putting doubt in you. Somebody doubted you, right? Somebody wanted to bring like parasites to all of your connections, like your friendships, your workships, your marriage, right? Your partnerships, right? These people that wanted to send parasites into your life, they're seeking they're hoping that you could forgive them for their past failures towards you, or how they doubted you and that brought them nothing but failures, right? These people want forgiveness, right? But they doubt that you ain't even you don't worry. They doubt that you're not worried about them getting forgiveness because you've outgrown them, right? You outgrown them and the whole dang on situation, right? They doubt that you're even worried about it. They doubt it. That's right. Because your self-esteem is high. Again, I heard you walk with your head up and your shoulders relaxed. Yeah, 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 yeah. What's this, Holy Spirit? Ooh, they want forgiveness. So they want forgiveness for letting you down. They want forgiveness for projecting failure onto you. They want forgiveness, right? For letting you down and projecting failure because they see that you have confidence. Your self-esteem is up there again because you outgrown them, the situation, the date, the time. Again, what's the oldest frequency? Spirit. So guess what? God was here first before everything, right? Again, what was created? God. How was everything created? From a spectacle. God birthed everything. It's from spirit. What's this? What's this forgiveness? Yeah, forgiveness is for you, it's not for them. So, and not only that, they already know that you forgave them, and that's why you're not worried, right? That's why they doubt it. They gotta go within. It ain't got nothing to do with you because you happy. See, the forgiveness is what's about your happiness, right? If you don't forgive people, you will never be happy because again, it won't affect them, it'll affect you. And that's the truth, honestly. Honesty, right? The truth is forgiveness bring happy, but it's not for them, it's for you. It's not for them, it's for you. My beloved, it's for you, right? See, I read earlier this week that Jesus told the woman that her infirmities was healed after 18 years, right? So whatever that's been causing you long suffering for a very long time, it's over with, right? People gotta wake up and smell the coffee, and they gotta realize that you know you come with a gang of diviners, right? And not only that, through the generations, you was prophesied about. Your ancestors and your lineage and God already had trust because they knew you was coming and they knew that you was going to be one of the ones to clean up y'all's lineage, right? You have a sacred connection to the divine. And this person that we're reading about today lost their contract with spirit. So very happy in my life. Yeah, this person lost their contract with the Holy Spirit for trying to come after your contract. How greedy is that? Is that ego driven or what? Right? Right? Again, what's this? See, they unsure about the choices they made. right? They unsure about their own choices, right? Yeah, because you shine, right? You confident, right? These mortals see that you're shining, right? You and your cat, right? And they want to know, who are you based on your choices, right? They need to be focusing on their choices, right? That's the truth, Spirit said. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about you, beloved, right? Make a room. Not only that, I tend to look a lot that way when I'm doing that way and this way when I'm doing reads. What's this, Holy Spirit? I dedicate Breakthrough, No One Will Do, Mary J. Blige. I dedicate that song to the Other Room, Jesus Christ. I also dedicate About You. Hold on. Featuring Will I Am. I believe that. Yep, Will I Am. To the Other Room in Jesus Christ. Yeah. And I believe that's the relationship that Queen S, like, her relationship was something like that with the Ola Room too. She would like write the Ola Room love messages, call him Your Majesty, and it was a sacred connection, a sacred relationship with King Queen Esther and God. What's this, Holy Spirit? What's this happiness? It's always tea time. We the talk. You the talk of the city. We the talk of the city. You the talk of the city. Chosen Collective, right? Because again, the relationship that you have with God is sacred and it's romantic, right? It's true love. Love is one of the highest vibrations, but you feel spirit, right? That's the first frequency, is feeling of spirit, right? Spirit is first and it has to be felt. What's this? Always tea time. They talking about this. Not only that, these investigators, it's time to investigate something that's being investigated involving you, Chosen Collective. That's why your ops is being ordered to leave. Again, Pharaoh was ordered to leave the chosen Israel alone, right? Over his delusions, right? Over their fantasies, their delusions. You. What's this investigate? Okay, it's always tea time. So people is always talking about eternity. Some people is talking about your eternity. Some people is talking about their eternity because they recognize, again, the energy that was put out, right? Endless moments. They're talking about endless moments, how things never end for you and how things will never stop as far as this karma that's coming back for them. Repetition and how they did things over and over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? They will send the energy work towards you. So these investigators is talking about the eternity, the future, the forever of something, right? They're being looked close. They're looking closely to something, right? And they're investigating. They're asking questions and they're thinking before they approach you. Now they realize that you're a survivor of some shit. Yeah, they talking about that. They talking about how they realize you a survivor of some kind of oppression or abuse, right? You ain't got to be worried when they come through. You rare, right? And that changed things, right? Because again, the energy that they was projecting towards you, it wasn't supposed to hit you. It was supposed to remain with them. Why was it supposed to remain with them? Because it belonged to them. It belongs to them. Right? It belongs to them. The energy belongs to them. What's this investigate? Keep your temper. Spirit said chill. You alright? Right? And not only that, you kept your temper through this whole ordeal, Chosen Collective. Right? 1949. Again, that's when slavery really motherfucking was done with, was in the 1940s, right? And this is nonsense. Spirit said this was enough. Enough was enough, right? Don't allow your anger to rule you. These people should never allow their anger and their insecurities to rule them. These people should never and not only that, it's red, right? This car is red, right? These other cars is brown. They're like a grounded, a rooted earth tone, right? But this red, that's that root chakra, right? That's that low vibrational energy. Keep your temper. See, because your cat and your pets, if you don't have a cat, your pets, your children, your babies, whatever you take care of is very sensitive. Something that depends on you is very sensitive. So you have to remain in vibration, high vibration, because everything has an effect. Like everything feels your frequency, right? Because you belong to the white dream. You belong to the white again. Follow the white rabbit, but you belong to your own dream. Why they tried to take your dreams? Not only that, they tried to follow you. What's this? Keep your temper through your dream state. They can't follow you. They can't follow you. It's all they're being talked about. They're being investigated and they're mad because they didn't follow the white rabbit, and they're all mad. We're all mad here. I just who are you? We're mad here. Who are you? Because they couldn't do nothing to you. They couldn't block you. They couldn't oppress you, right? Because Pharaoh had the Israelites um in slavery, right? He had them building his land, and he was really mad at Moses because Moses wouldn't rule with him. You know what I'm saying? Moses chose to be with the Israelites, right? And to lead God's people, right? So these people are mad. We're all mad here, right? Because who are you? They don't, you're something that you're rare and free, and you're something that they've never encountered. They've always used their occult knowledge in the past to take other people out. You know about this upside down partnership, right? They're all mad here. They want to know who are you because you went the right way. I'm going to leave that out, Spirit said. Because you went the right way. You do things right way, right? Curiosity meets opportunity in the reverse. Their curiosity did not meet the opportunity. Why? Because they was doing manipulation, right? They went against God. They didn't follow the laws of the land, of the commandments, spiritually or earthly, right? They're mad because they got caught up, right? Again, this investigation, right? They're being ordered to leave, right? Not only that, this is happening in a matter of days, like 3 or 4 days, right? Who in the world are you? Right? Everyone is a little different. They're mad because you're different than them, or you're experiencing things that they're not, or they're not experiencing, which they're mad about that. So basically, ego, right? Now these investigators or the people that's watching the whole situation, whether if it's spiritually or earthly, 5D or 3D, right? Everybody see that this person is either jealous of you, they have a disdain at you because they won't get up and go out there and make moves for themselves. Again, it's a self-imposed prison, right? That's why they face the obstacles. hmm They face the obstacles. Why you sitting up there dancing wild? hmm They bored. They live a boring life, and it was written for them just to be sitting like that, right? That's a whole sin, right? Being slothful, right? That's one of the 7 deadly sins, right? Slothiness. That's laziness. You just sitting there doing nothing, just wasting away. You're wasting your resources, right? That's just like doing what did it say? Self disfigurement, right? That's just like doing self disfigurement. That's just prohibited, right? Just sitting here wasting your life away, right? Not doing the right thing or being evil and being hateful, right? That shit ain't gonna get you nowhere but where you at, right? Again, that's the truth, Spirit said. That's the Ace of Swords, right? That's the Ace of Swords. This Queen of Wands intuitively know about these burdens that everybody is going through because again, they're being forced to leave. right? Your ops being forced to leave. And what's funny about this chosen collective, you didn't establish an op. These ops established themselves a part of your op side. So since they wanted to play in your energy force field, you were part of the 12 tribes of Abraham, and you connected to your divine lineage, and they thought they was going to play with you through the energy force field. And that's why you're also ordered to leave because you keep the promises, believe in the promises of God. See, when God told Abraham that and Abraham died, that don't mean the promises died. You know what I'm saying? The lineage is still here. The promises, no matter how long it takes for the promise to be fulfilled, God is a patient man or woman. Right? What's the right way? Learning to create what you desire the right way. Right? Learning to create what you desire the right way. So shine bright like a candle, because you will make it through this if you haven't already made it through this. Right? Again, these opportunities that's faded for you. Right? What's this right way, Holy Spirit? That's a victory. It's a success. It's an achievement. Right? You being getting rewarded too. Right? The right way. Right? Honestly. Right? And people are at a stalemate about that. Because you being recognized, because you do things the lawful way through God, through Jesus, through Spirit, right? You take everything to God. It brings stalemates. It brings some people confusion, right? Again, behind the scenes, they know they can't. They stuck in between worlds. The two of wands, the moon and the two of wands. Intuitively, you know people stuck in between worlds, right? What did Elijah say on Mount Carmel? How long are you going to, go after two opposes? Right? What's the six of wands? Right? You can't. You can't. Right? What's the six of wands? The right way. So shine bright like a candle. You are remember I said something about paparazzi energy. 2736. Remember I said something about paparazzi energy being felt since February, right? Not to mention the last Mercury retrograde was February. That was cold outside here in the United States at the northern part, right? It was cold, right? And guess what? Now it's the summertime and it's a Mercury retrograde and it's going to last about the same amount of days, right? Almost a whole month, right? So you was the last Mercury retrograde. You was coming out of the oppression. This Mercury retrograde, it's hot outside. That's the exposure. The sun is here, and these people are being introduced to their whatever this boomerang effect is for them. See, you was leaving, right? It was trying to hold back, trying to double back and try to hold on to you, right? But it couldn't. Not to mention all those cosmic events was going on. Between realms, it was thin. Six of Pentacles, 66 to mean something. Right, you got six wands. Wands could represent conflict. It could represent struggle. It could represent to their pentacles, right? Again, to the Six of Cups, right? To their emotions, right? It's baby to their pinnacle, right? The pentacles is groundedness, right? Earth, right? Rooted, right? So do things right way, you brought conflict to somebody else's success because you being recognized because they was praying on your downfall, shorty, somebody from your past. That's in the Five of Pentacles, or they have a poverty mindset, right? Or they are the poverty mindset, right? Yeah, Empress, what's the Six of Pentacles? It's King of Swords in the reverse. I'm gonna do that again. What's the Six of Swords? The Six of Pentacles. The right way. So shine bright like a candle. Because you respect the elders when you was going through it. Yeah. The star in the reverse. Right? So your success brings somebody the star in the reverse karma. Right? Your success, your victory, your win, all that puts them in a stalemate. right? Start reverse. It's that new wave shit. Again, so they serving two masters. This person show up one way, but do something behind the scenes, right? This is start reverse. Not to mention, not to mention, they've been stopped. Like this is stopped, right? Like they're watching something, or they was so they're watching for their karma, right? They planned this. This was their plan. This was all by their own design, right? But you doing shit the right way, right? And what you brought, and when you did shit the right way, it brought them karma because they was doing injustices, right? What's who again? New beginnings in love because you did everything out of love, right? That makes you a leader. Not only that, you tapped into the divine, right? That's a hierophant behind there. What's this? Who in the world are you? They want to know who you are because the energy circle back again. Mercury retrograde is for here for them, right? So pay attention to the words to say. Pay attention to your tone. Pay attention to your body language, right? Remember, silence is louder, right, than noise, right? So that's like you need to protect your energy at all costs, right? Silence is the best thing to be in because it makes the biggest impact, right? Silence make the biggest impact. What's this Eight of Wands in the reverse? Yeah, they want to know, getting to know the new you. How the new you when folks be wanting to project, right? When folks want to project, how it don't even affect you. It hit them. Endings. They want to know who you are because this death ain't energy coming back, right? Them endings is coming back to them. However, the endings was, whether if it was to end their relation, your relationships, your partnerships, your work, your talents, your gifts, your stop anything in your life. It's happening for them. Not to mention, see how they looking right here. See how they looking right there. Yeah, they sitting on the side of their bed like that because they ain't gonna be able to sit on that bed for long, right? It's gonna be a different type of bed again for their ignorance, but they was inspired to do this shit to somebody who they didn't even know have a inkling or idea about. Right? You were chosen when you from the 12 tribes of Abraham and you connected to your divine lineage. That's where they didn't. That's where they. That's where they didn't see. Right? That's what they didn't see. Right? That's what they didn't know. Right? What's this death? Game on. Yeah. Behind the scenes for this King of Pentacles, right? The moon, I mean the hermit, right? That's investigation. Again, we saw investigate out here, but that's introspection, innovation, right? That's cloaking, right? Not only that, what's that behind that? This King of Pentacles. Okay, so this death, right? They want to know who you are, this King of Pentacles, right? Not only that, they want to know who you are because they couldn't in your authority in your pentacles, right? Not only that, like they could distort, they couldn't end or distort your status by them cloaking, right? Trying to cloak in your energy, because again, you felt them. It's the frequency, right? You felt them, right? What's this hermit? What's this hermit? Eight of Wands, that death behind the scenes, right? They didn't even see it sneak back. Again, Mercury retrograde for them, right? This Queen of Cups. So, this Queen of Cups went within, right? And sent that death back, right? Not to mention she used her intuition. The Hermit represents intuition as well. The Queen of Cups is intuition. She's love too, right? She's something back that goddamn death, right? She did it through the divine, right? And that brought them a tower. That's a sudden change. That's a sudden change, right? Their 10 pentacles is stopped. They sacrificed it. Yeah, when they was invested in negative energy, trying to stop you. 2:30. I don't even get my shoes dirty. What's this? We're all mad here. Everyone is a little different. Yeah, spirit is mad. They're mad too, right? Because of your strength. They mad about your fucking strength. They want to know who in the fuck are you, right? Because you do shit the right way. You go by the book. That's what spirit say. You go by the fucking book. They mad, baby. They mad, baby. We're all mad here because of your strength. We different, but your strength is something impeccable, right? Cause them backfires is hitting them expeditiously, left and right. They can't hold them to the rope no more. They've been tugged, right? Since they won the Cold War, right? What's the strength? Yeah, them Opps they got orders to go from the divine. The feds is involved. Empress? They mad at you, Empress? They mad at you, Empress, for their own insecurities, for their own ignorance, for their own infidelity. They're mad at you. Again, that's justice for this new beginning. The law is involved. Moving forward, the law is involved. Right? The law is involved. Right? I heard a collective and a civil lawsuit. Man, I already felt this shit. A collective. That's the word that the justice system choose to use. Collective. It's one of the chosen ones. It's a chosen one. Chosen ones. Opportunity to persecute your oppressor. Right? What's this, Empress? Yeah, they mad about your strength in the divine. They under judgment, and that's fated because you don't give a what. 10 of Wands in the reverse. You is not burdened. You ain't crying. Right? They mad because you ain't burdened and you ain't weighed down. They burdened because you not burdened and weighed down. They mad because by you having strength and you still showing up nurturing, loving, respectful, polite, meek, right? And you not burdened because they watch you every day. That brings judgment to them. Why they under judgment? Because they use the occult knowledge book, that Freemason shit. They went against God as if that was power. So they was already under an illusion when they went there and participated in that King Solomon shit. Trying to bind your ass. They end up binding their fucking self. It's a wish fulfillment. You ain't have to do nothing but keep your faith. And by you keeping your faith, you believed in the promises that God told your lineage a long time ago. And they being fulfilled. Because of your belief and your determination. What's this 10 of Wands reverse? They say it's cheaper to keep a shot at the club and keep it in extra. Again, they caught up. I'm so caught up, got me feeling them. Yeah, they in the well. Right, they in the well. They mad because they can't locate you. Right? You're not burdened about sitting still, sitting in one spot, observing the situation. Queen of Cups. You're not burdened. You're not burdened about them getting their karma. You don't care. We saw worry in the reverse. Right? What's this follow the white rabbit in the reverse? They should never try to follow your ass energetically. Right? Again, they should never try to follow you. 8 of Cups. They should never try to follow you. That's what they get. But they wasn't trying to follow you for some righteous shit. They was trying to follow you, trying to steal and harvest your energy through energy work, sneaking, some fuck shit. Like, get the fuck out of here, ho. This authority figure, right? 9 of Cups, 4 of Wands. Again, they summed up these false proposals, right? And it fucked up their foundation. Again, they wasn't real. They wasn't real. They ain't real and they wasn't real. right? Because design on my cards, right? My brother and my reefer, right? What's this Eight of Cups? Yeah, that wasn't real. If Listen, he said if 12 get behind me, I'ma smash it. So when I was asleep last night, 12 years came up in my dream. I heard 12 on my TV, 12 years, right? Not to mention the 12 tribes, because we're talking about the promises of God, the 12 tribes. So somebody is getting payment from the divine lineage going back 12 years. That's how much energy about to come through, or enough money that could last them 12 years. Or somebody's about to get 12 years of karma, 12 years of bondage, 12 years of imprisonment, 12 years of desperation, 12 years of wandering in the wilderness like Job. 12 years of going through that type of impression. Somebody been oppressing people for 12 years. What's this A cups? They gotta walk away. They can't locate you. They gotta walk away from this trickery, this deception. Seven of Swords, this trickery, this deception, right? This manipulation, this lie, this crime, right? They gotta walk away from the Empress. It's over with. The Death card, Six of Pentacles, right? They gotta walk away. You not burdened about being alone. Play with my life and I'm shoot. What's this Seven of Swords? You believe that shit too. You told these motherfuckers that shit energetically. You play with my life, now spirit gonna shoot you. What's this Seven of Swords? This is out of my cards and my bros and my reef. They say it's cheaper to. What's this Seven of Swords? Shout out the club on keep on this. What's this? It's Ace of Cups. Alright, follow the white rabbit in the reverse. For one, they can't locate you, right? Because you walked away from their deception, trickery, and you chose love, right? Not to mention, that's why you're not burdened. You don't give a fuck about being a lone hermit. You investigate, you observe shit. You read it again. Deciding my cards, my bros, and my reefer. You choose. Like it's your choice. Like you have your preference. That's his preference. You have your own preference, right? Motherfuckers got their own preference. You chose love. Your preference is love. This story reverse been they plans is dead. Right? What's this Eight of Cups? I mean this Ace of Cups. Ten of Pentacles in the reverse. Right? Somebody lost again the blessing of no protection. Right? No protection. No happiness. Right? That's what they wanted for you though. And this is what's happening for them. They gotta walk away with their deception. Since that's what the love offers that they was giving out was deception, they losing their 10 pentacles. Their happiness, their family, right? Their good times, right? Their cookouts, right? Right? Their celebrations, their holidays, right? Their money, right? Their material wealth, right? They're losing it, right? They're caught, right? The Queen of Cups caught them through her intuition. Yes, she did. She caught these motherfuckers through her intuition. Stop their plans. Star in the reverse. Yeah. These wasn't stars of the sky. These were stars of the earth. Again, where in the fuck is the 72 demons at? Do y'all know? The 72 demons is roaming the earth. When? What's this? Keep your temper. Don't allow anger to rule you. Right? That's why your vibration is high. That's why everything is in your favor. Again, King of Pentacles. Right? Right? This King of Pentacles is mad because you walked away. And you remain strong. And everything backfired on them and that was a victory and success. Right? Not only that, they sent negative energy toward your success. Again, they collaborated with this coven. Right? Two of Cups. They collaborated with a coven. And again, that's who getting fucked up first. These stars reversed. They're getting this karma. Anybody that came against the star, they was in a low vibration when they did it. They're considered a star reverse. Right? Their plans have been backfired and brought to a halt. The Queen of Cups did it in hermit mode, cloaked, protected, right? She still remained loving, right? What's this King of Pentacles? While she was maintaining everyday life, him or her, right? What's this King of Pentacles? This Earth sign, right? Earth, water, yeah, everybody out here, all right? So it's a mixture of emotions and feelings, right? This King of Pentacles is sitting there in isolation, right? They sitting there looking stupid. They bored. Again, they sit, it's a sloth. They're choosing to sit there, right? Because if it was in the reverse, he would have got up, right? They're choosing to sit there and be mad because you keep your bag full. Not only that, you maintain your success, your material, right? Your spiritual, right? You maintain. Not only that, you have access to it. 45, 55, you have access to it. Your manifestations will always be within reach. This King of Pentacles is mad because you walked away. And guess what? Follow the white rabbit in the reverse. They can't keep up with your authority. And they trapped. Yeah, them or this King of Wands. They got a King of Wands and this King of Swords trapped. And they all, everybody on from new beginnings of conflict. What's this Four of Cups? Again, keep your temper. Right? The Knight of Swords, right? Let's see what this looking like. Right? They were sending a text to your love, right? Out of boredom. They was just sitting there on their ass doing it just like all day. They mad as hell. They mad as hell. They wasted their little Social Security money, their little work check, right? They wasted their little time, right? They realized they gave you their power, right? They realized that they gave you their power, and that's why they sitting there stinking. Again, they was a they was sitting there in isolation by themselves, attacking you in your collaborations or the team you work with, right? Behind the scenes. They was attacking you, right? They mad. Again, they on the new beginnings, right? Because of your new beginnings, and they're confused. They're confused about your financial new beginnings or your material wealth. Or again, the problem is not you, it's still because they're concerned with your life. Spirit is not telling me that you're concerned with their life. Spirit is not telling me that. Spirit is showing me that they're concerned with your life. And that's why this victory is here. Because you did things the right way, right? And successfully gave them their fucking karma back. Due to the fact they start attacking you because they're concerned with your life. Make it make sense. They walked into this ass whooping, right? What's this Knight of Swords? Make it make sense, player. Right? Six of Swords. Right? Six of Swords. Right? That's devotion. Right? That's devotion. Right? That was devoted to attacking you. Right? It was written for this Queen of Pentacles, about a Queen of Pentacles. Right? It was written. What's this investigate? Right? They was devoted. They was dedicated to that. Right? Okay. So this organization is being investigated. Ain't that what you said? You looked and you saw something, right? They've been investigated. Why Spirit let you know? That's the truth. They on a new beginning of this investigation. They being looked at closely because of what they did to you initially, and then they turned around and did it to somebody else. Okay. Not only that, they call this a collective civil lawsuit. So that means multiple people have experienced this. Not to mention you got a gift and you telling it. Good job. Right? So you got hella evidence, you got proof, you know what I'm saying? You good. And they got proof too. And they also got proof that you was just targeted because of your talents, because of the way you work. Yay, yay. What's this Hierophant? They also got proof that you was targeted because of the way you work, your style of work, your belief system. So you was discriminated, right? This Three of Pentacles in the reverse, right? They under investigation. This bad work team, right? This bad team at this organization. They under investigation, right? And that's a success, right? They mad as fuck. They mad. They mad because you know how to maintain your temper. You wasn't mad about what they did with this earth sign to try to isolate you. Doing, right? But they was devoted to it. You was devoted to moving on, but they was devoted to doing this shit to you, right? So that's why they ain't got no money and they stuck, right? This Queen of Cups stopped their plans, right? The star, she put them in the dark, right? She put water on the bitches, right? Again, that brings happiness to the vibration. That's a wish fulfillment to humanity, to the universe, right? That's going to bring happiness, right? People's vibration, financial vibrations, right? Their material, everything is going to increase, right? Like again, people is going to start eating healthier, eating good. People's thoughts going to be clear, right? Again, you took leadership, right? You're a leader to bring happiness, right? You got connections. Again, the Hierophant out here, the Three of Pentacles in the reverse, they under investigation, right? They being asked questions about, right? They should have thought before they acted. Why did you know about this? Because you was one of the people that they did this to. Three of Cups, right? Three of Pentacles in the reverse, Three of Cups, right? So this friends group, these people that be together, right? Their celebration and their delight, right? It was a bad job, right? It was an upside down team, right? These were unprofessionals at this organization that partied a lot, right? That and then like you could see like a little energy wrapped around their waist, right? Yeah, like a little silhouette, right? So that they was doing, they was harvesting again with the devil, right? Low vibrational. Again, keep your temper as red. That stand out to me because everything else is a neutral color or is balanced. All right, what's this? 51, 50, 32. What's this Three of Cups? Yeah, that was attacking you. Throwing projections. Again, throwing projections at your home. I can't make it up. Throwing projections. Those are projections, bro. Those are projections at your foundation, right? These opportunists. They was throwing projections. They being investigated for how they was lying on you, right? How they was trying to paint the roses red, right? How they was trying to make something look like about because they show up one way. Again, this close contractual agreement. You know who this was, whether if it's a job, a lease, a credit card, whether if it's a marriage, whether if it's somebody, a sibling, a parent, it's somebody that your name is on a piece of paper or you got some kind of tie to this person, right? Even though you ain't around them right now, but and your energy is different, right? That you're guarded from, that you're protected from, right? Energetically. Again, they got a contract with the devil, bro. But people talking about the law is talking about how they could see the evilness, how they could recognize what these people do with witch work. They see that. What's this? It's always tea time, eternity, endless moments, and repetition. Not only that, these people was doing this shit over and over and over and over and over, right? The energy went back again, right? They can't stalk you, they can't slander you no more, right? They can't watch you, right? They can't spy, they can't scribe, right? They can't try to. It's always tea time. They talk about how these people that's being investigated talking about how they can't do that shit no more, right? How they feel some type of way, how they lost their energy again. And forward moving, 10 of Cups, right? Ace of Wands, 10 of Cups, Ace of Wands, Chariot, 10 of Cups. So you moving forward with your happiness, with your family, right? With your love, right? Ace of Wands. You want a new beginning of it. Again, pay attention to the frequency. Not only that, this is around the time that Christ was really born, right? It was hot outside. Not all damn snow. That's winter solstice. Yes, respect there, but that's not when he was born, right? Not only that, the sun was shining when the world was created, right? So this is the beginning, this is the creation of time, right? The flowers is out, the grass is green, the leaves are green, right? What's this page of swords in the reverse? It's always tea time. This King of Pentacles, right? This King of Pentacles can't stalk you no more. They can't. They talk about how this King of Pentacles was slandering you and how it's not working, and how this organization is being investigated due to something of that, right? And how they was participating in this work towards the high priestess, and how they're also talking about the high priestess's work, right? How this high priestess work and how these people was just mad at the high priestess because the high priestess make the job look easy or make life look easy or the jobs, right? What's this Knight of Pentacles? This Knight of Pentacles, investigate it. That's the investigated. This close contractual agreement, this relationship, this marriage, this union, right? They didn't see this coming. Caught them off guard. This investigation. Caught them off guard. That's what I just heard. The Page of Swords in the reverse caught the motherfuckers off guard. They ain't see this coming. You ain't seen nothing yet at the federal level. Yeah, you might not go to prison for the shit, but you know what? Your door's gonna have to shut. You're gonna have to go through some type of intervention before you fucking be able to get to be considered equal opportunity employer ever again, right? Whoever you are. But in my situation, you know who you are, right? What's this Two of Cups? 5604. Four Swords in the reverse. No rest, no recovery, no repairing, no reconciling. Again, you're guarded, chosen collective. You're guarded because, and you're protected because you met Jesus at the well and you told him what was up from your perspective. And so y'all made a deal. So you start looking at your life from all perspectives and start cleaning your shit up. And these people still throwing energy work at you and you're not doing that back. Yeah, Spirit said, yeah, what's up? Take your ass outside. You took your ass outside and they getting it again. You guarded and protected and judgment is here for these hoes. Again, because the truth is you forgave them. That's why you're happy. The truth is you already forgave every single person. Everybody facing obstacles for being stinky, right? The fox, right? Because you anchored into your tribe, your school, right? Right? You anchored into your clique, your spiritual, your connection, right? You anchored into that shit, right? This organization under the investigation, right? For the illusions they put out, bro. You are part of the collective, right? You about to get yours, baby. Again, the bleeding woman, the promises of Abraham, right? The Dracos of Dracos, right? Spirit came out airing this bitch out, right? You did things the right way, Spirit said, right? And I'm proud of you for that, and I thank you for that, right? I thank you for doing things the right way. I thank you for transmitting your energy in the upright, right? Because it helps save the world. Again, the bleeding woman. So you've been healed from your infirmities, right? Right? You just want to touch the hem of your garment, right? Just to be in the presence of Jesus. That's all you did. You didn't retaliate, right? Again, and that's why they're getting what they gave out, huh? Yeah, yeah. Your infirmities, right? 18 years, right, or longer, right? What's this star reverse? A brave woman in Jericho in the reverse, right? Rahab. These people wasn't loyal, right? These people wasn't loyal. When Joshua sent spies to Jericho, Rahab sheltered them, right? And then Joshua become a leader in Egypt, right? And hiding them from danger, recognizing the Lord's power, he requested safety for herself and her family. The spies promised protection if she hung a scarlet rope from her window. Rahab obeyed. When Jericho fell, her family was spared. Her story reveals how trusting God's promise brings deliverance and hope, ways and places. So these people wasn't loyal. They wasn't obedient and they wasn't loyal, right? They being watched, right? What's the hermit? Ooh, the devil chasing this motherfucker. Okay, so Samuel anoints David, right? So you being anointed, the damn devil was chasing you, right? So that's what these stars reversed was considered demons, right? Again, trying to tempt you, right? Behind the scenes, right? You anointed, and they trying to tempt you behind the scenes, right? Samuel anoints David. That's what the hermit is, right? Samuel anoints David because they was trying to, because you anointed, they try to tempt you behind the scenes. The boy with the king's heart. When Saul lost God's favor, the Lord sent the prophet Samuel to Bethlehem to anoint a new king. Samuel visited the home of Jesse, a farmer, a sheep breeder, who proudly presented his sons. But one by one, God rejected them. Instead, he chose the youngest, David, a humble shepherd, tending to the flocks in front of his family. Samuel anointed David with oil, and from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. Though overlooked by others, David's heart was fully devoted to God, setting him apart as Israel's future king. Because you anointed, they went behind the scenes to try to tempt you, right? Satan's temptations to Jesus, right? The Queen of Cups, right? They did what they like. Again, they was doing shit with spirits, right? With energy work, right? To a Queen of Cups, though, to a loving person, a sweetheart, right? That's why they getting this death, right? What's this death? Noah's Ark in the reverse, right? They ain't making it inside the ark. In a world overrun by corruption, right? They couldn't corrupt you, right? In a world overrun by corruption, Noah stood out for his faith in God. He obeyed God's command to build a vast ark to shelter his family and pairs of every kind of animal. When flood waters covered the earth, Noah and his cargo stayed safe inside. After the waters receded, Noah offered thanks to God, who established a covenant sealed by a rainbow. Right? So you follow the promises of God, and that's why they wonder, like, again. But see, they didn't follow the promises, see, because they got left out the ark, Noah's ark in the reverse. Right? They want to know, who are you? Because you made it in, and they didn't. They faced the endings. Right? They thought that they was doing the right thing by trying to twist fate, by planning that occult shit. Right? Uh, this story reveals God's judgment on evil and his saving grace for those who walk with him in the reverse, right? Death. They couldn't stop you from getting in God's favor. Not only that, they couldn't stop judgment, right? It went back to boomerang, Mercury retrograde, right now, right? What's this well? It's three in this row. Again, Gideon's victory. You got the victory, right? The bleeding woman, right? Again, you got the victory. Again, the other day we read that you are healed from your infirmities. So this person is getting their just due for doing what they did to you. Not only that, you're about to be replenished with energy and something tangible, right? Y'all's life about to be good. What's this, Empress? Right? Again, John baptizes Jesus. Again, you leveled up. You leveled up. You became the high priest as well. Right? The high priest or the high priestess, you leveled up. That's the empress. Right? You've been baptized. Right? You have access to your divine knowledge. Priest, Aaron, priestly calling. Right? Through the stars, through the cosmos, through the universe. Right? Rebecca. Right? You look out for people. Right? What's the strength? Again, they got to go. They being ordered to leave because they're not helping. Right? They're not raising the vibration. They're not showing love. Right? They sitting up here throwing murky shit. What's the strength? They mad. They sitting up here throwing murky shit again. They on the lion's den. Isn't that strength on top of strength? Bro, you bulletproof. Right? Right? The Annunciation. Right? That's the earth angel. Right? Because you a dreamer. Right? You revealed it. The Annunciation is the reveal. Right? The call. Right? What's this Ace of Cups? 10418. What's this Ace of Cups? The never ending will in the reverse. They getting blessed because they didn't follow the little right rabbit. Not only that, because they can't reach you, right? Their love offers is not like it's never ending oil. It's bad oil, like it's spilt out. They wasted all love trying to be deceitful. They like you lost, like there's no love there for them from you. You too high for them. There's no connection, right? Ten of Pentacles in the reverse. There's no, they never, they will never to be able to bounce back. They lost their vitality. They lost their charisma. They lost their originality, right? Well, they didn't actually lose it. They gave it away, right? They gave it away. Are you supposed to feel some type of way about that? No. See, they didn't follow the white rabbit. What's this? What's this Hierophant? What's this Hierophant under this investigate? This Three of Pentacles in the reverse. This upside down ass team, right? This Three of Cups, this friends group. The rise and fall of Saul. So again, this person worked hard to get to where they at. Just for them to get to where they at to abuse their authority. Because the only reason why you will fall is because you will abuse something or you're dying. Right? So this person abused their authority and that's why they're being investigated. Yeah. So it's a good shepherd in the building, right? David becomes king. A good shepherd is in the building, and because a new king is arriving, right? And again, King David come from a house of a shepherd, right? He was a shepherd boy, right? You turn water into wine, right? The new leader coming through, performing miracles, right? Again, sowing, right? And when you drop seeds, right, some drop on the wayside. What's this? That's it. Yeah, that's it. Reap what you sow. The parable of the sower, right? Jesus told the parable of the sower to show how God's word is received by different hearts. In this story, a sower scattered seeds in various soils. Only those falling on good soil took root, grew strong, and yielded an abundant harvest. The good soil represents hearts that welcome God's truth, nurture it with faith, and allow it to flourish. This teaching reminds us to clear away distractions, prepare our inner to embrace divine wisdom so that our spirit may bear lasting fruit. Right? Elijah's altar. Right? They sowed into these sacrifices. Right? Because he was out there hollering, are you going to keep serving two opposers? Pick one. Right? About these sacrifices, about them, worshiping idols and shit like that. That's what he was sitting up there hollering about, and he was spreading the word. And I heard sometimes when you giving a message, you're burning something sacred and that belongs to divine to cleanse the energy and raise the vibration. That's what I just heard, right? Yeah, they ain't think this shit was gonna come back and hit them like this, baby. They should have respected their elders. That's what Spirit keeps saying. They should have respected their elders, right? John baptizes Jesus. Your strength and double strength. You've been reborn and rewashed in spirit, and you went out here winning wars, right? They mad, right? They want to know who you are because they ain't get to get in the ark, right? So that means they drowned in the flood, right? They on top of death, right? And you've been anointed and appointed to be king, right? These stars reversed, they get no loyalty from being investigated and being watched. Nobody owes them no loyalty, and that's their karma. They're gonna have again. They might get 12 years, or their sentence might start at 12 years, right? Right. What's this night of What's this Knight of Pentacles? Clouds in the reverse. Clouds in the reverse. Always tea time. Talk about how low vibrational they are. Clouds in the reverse on top of the Knight of Pentacles. The clouds is the heaven's chariot. What's this Page of Swords in the reverse? Under tea time? Eternity. They're not going up in the clouds. What's this? They didn't see this. They've been uprooted. Tree reverse. This Page of Swords in the reverse. They've been uprooted for slandering you, throwing energy your way, being immature. right? They being investigated, right? All that shit went back, right? And they're not grounded, right? They're facing obstacles, right? What's this Two of Cups? What's this Two of Cups? Again, these stars is in the reverse, right? These stars is in the reverse, right? That's the Two of Cups. They can't recover. This will never, this will never be salvageable, right? We talking about these people like they jump cars now. This shit would never be salvageable, right? What's the rise and fall of Saul? Yeah. And see, Saul was hunting down King David, right? And um, not only that, Saul wasn't loyal to King David because when Saul wasn't feeling well and his mental health was fucked up, King David would be around and playing his harp and singing praises to the other room, and King David would feel better. So he was hunting him down because his energy, it predates, right? And so he fell and made David king. The one he hunted, the one he wanted to kill, the one he wanted energy and vitality and beauty and inner strength, not realizing David suffered from the fucking depression because of that. So this person caused you some form of mental deformity at once upon a time, right? Because King Saul caused David was depressed because of the things he experienced when he was running from Saul, right? What's this rise and fall of Saul? Right? This person did that to you, right? This person caused you a mental deformity. This person caused you disease, uncomfortability, irritability. And you felt it through the energetic, and they're being investigated about that. We're going to dissect it like it ain't nobody's business. What's the rise and fall of King Saul? The rise and fall of Saul. To pull you down. Anchor. To weigh you down. Right? To weigh you down. That's why they're not in the clouds. That's why the clouds is not a part of their chariot, because you blooming. Because you bloom. Again, these vultures wanted to bloom off of you. Right? They wanted your roots. Right? These storks, these vultures. Keep your temper. King of Pentacles. Still room up in you. Heart. Heart. That's love. That's your heart. Right? They wanted to weigh your heart down. Right? Of this growing woman, this blooming woman. They wanted to weigh the heart down. Somebody who's loyal to their roots, to their garden. Right? And these mice was attracted. Right? What's this trickery? This Lily. You're pure. They wanted to deceive society, the law, about this empress, about you. That's why they got us. Their heart is low vibration because anchors weigh you down, right? Their hearts is weighed down about the purity of this woman who's protected by her loyal guardian, right? What's this Ten of Pentacles in the reverse? Yeah, the promises of God. This man, right? He in some low vibrational energy. He don't have no oil. He's not glowing, right? So that's who was hunting you down, right? Because remember, King Saul was hunting King David down for his energy and his vitality, right? He also wanted the protection that God had on King David, right? Hmm. You still get anointed because you're pure, right? You're pure to everybody, right? What's this Noah's Ark in reverse? Yeah, garden in the reverse, right? It's barren land. Green in the reverse, that's brown, right? That's dirt, right? Tower for that book, the occult knowledge book. Tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Not only that, because you do shit the right way. You go by the book, bro. You do shit the right way. You use your spiritual text, right? What's this? What's this Rahab in the reverse? Yeah, because John baptizes Jesus. Nigga, you got baptized. You've been reborn. You've been washed away. Again, they ain't get. They missed the communication, right? They was misinformed. They gave miscommunication. They lied about some shit. Some letter in the reverse. That's a victory. So they wrote something down on a piece of paper for this letter to be here, right? So Rahab in the reverse, they wasn't loyal or obedient. So they lied about that, right? On some kind of communication. Some fucked up ass communication that there was a plan. It was a pact. What's the victory? What's Gideon's victory? This tower. That's the sudden change. You beat them at their own game. Again, woman, right? You beat them at their own game, right? You beat them at their own game. You planted, right? The seeds they planted, they didn't know that they was planting seeds on bad soil, right? And you held on to the promises of God and you believed in them, right? You believe in them, right? You believe in the promises of God. You lean on them, right? You lean on the promises of God. Again, Elijah on Mount Carmel. Elijah on Mount Carmel. I'm going to read it to you. Elijah went before the people and said, how long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord God, if the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal's God, follow him. Make your mind up. Plant your seeds. Make your mind up. That's the two of wands. That's the two of candles. That's the card when he holding the globe. When they planning, you're supposed to make a decision right there. You have no choice but to make a decision here. And this is fated. Whatever choice you make is your fate. And they made some fucked up ass fate for lying on this communication, on this document, for being disloyal, for not being obedient, right? For not following their intuition. That's why they're getting this bad karma. For their plans. This was premeditated. We could dig deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. 1:18:23. What's this? What's this letter reverse? Again, because you out here being authentic, right? You out here giving out messages, right? You out here performing miracles. You allowing God to use you. You living your everyday life, right? Again, the Knight of Feathers, Paul the Apostle. At once, he began to preach in the synagogues that Jesus is the Son of God. That's why you're being anointed. Samuel anoints David. You've been anointed because you're apostle, right? They lied on the apostle, bro. What's this letter in the reverse? They lied on your authority. King of Cups. Again, another authority figure pop out, right? King of Cups. I thought I was tripping. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. What? And we will no longer be in disgrace. What? Nehemiah 2:17. What? Again, it's a victory that they get in this karma. And so they want to reconcile with you, which we saw four swords reversed at the other end. It will never be that, but this is what they want. Now they want to come to their consensus because this karma is draining them. Like, again, they don't have no energy. Why? Because they sat at the fucking table and gave it to you, and that's why they on your table and everybody else's. Right? Again, you told them. Right? Queen of Swords, Queen of Feathers. Right? You talking to David. Right? Abigail, the peacemaker, man. You told them. What's this? Solomon. You told Solomon. You told Solomon. What's this? Garden in reverse. The magician in the reverse. Yeah. They was throwing that wine so much that they zapped all their grass out. Their house look like it's been on, their yard look like it's been on fire. Right? Because you being anointed. Because your strength. Right? Because your divine connection. Right? What's this tower? They mad. They mad because you have faith to crawl over and touch Jesus' garment, bro. You have faith to go within and call on God. Bro, they mad because you knew to do that. Jonah, right? Now, Lord, take my life, for it is better for me to die than to live. Why they put this the anger of Jonah. Why Jonah felt like that? Because, man, God did never let him go to Tarshish, right? Because he had a divine mission to go to Nineveh. Right? But Job wanted to go to Tarshish because Job was chasing after the material wealth. Right? So Job he was depressed. He wanted to die. Right? That's the tower that these people is in. They're mad about that. Right? They sitting there mad as fuck. 4 cups. Right? They bored. They in isolation. Right? They can't move. Right? They can't move. Ain't this the energy that they was putting out to you? They was projecting it. So this is the energy that they gonna sit in. Because again, they've been investigated, and the investigation has been anchored in, right? About these illusions. They know what they was doing with the energy work towards the paperwork. They know the manipulation tactics. Again, King Solomon, right? The occult knowledge, right? So they used the book of occult knowledge. We saw that in the last deck, the book, right? Of occult knowledge, right? The bleeding woman. We saw her in the other deck too, right? Because the oppression. Pharaoh is ordered to leave, right? They got to move around. The same energy that was lurking, one of the demons of King Solomon, now all of them was after your ass, trying to suck you dry. Due to the fact some human allowed the entity to take over them, and they wanted to target you because you make life look easy, not realizing you live in a everyday life just like them. Because you wake up smiling. This emperor high priest, this high ranking demon, right? What's this, man? High priestess in the reverse. They did not use divine knowledge, intuition. They can't be trusted. Nobody believed them. Their vision is off. They're awkward. Like, right? They have no oil, right? They don't have, they're dry. They're barren, right? Guarded in the reverse. They're barren. They're losing their money, right? For being a love bomber, bro, and lying, right? They've been misinformed, right? They've been misinformed about how true loyalty is. They was misinformed about how love is. Moving forward, these motherfuckers gonna be hanging on the cross upside down. Right? What's this heart? No, this lily. Excuse me, spirit. They can't follow the little white rabbit. Again. Your soul contract, this is the contract of David and Jonathan, right? Your soul contract is pure, right? And you took all your oil back. Moving forward, the conversations you have with God, it will be strong, right? Who that had to talk with God? Saul's conversation, again, this person, Saul hunted down David, right? Because of his soul contract, right? So Saul had to talk, God had to talk with Saul. And this is what he said to them. He fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? This is what God is saying to Saul, right? So this person that was after you that wanted your vitality, both of y'all were high ranking, right? So this person that was after you that wanted your vitality, they actually being convicted by God right now. In the future and moving forward, since they didn't pay attention to the communication signs and synchronicities when you was around, right? God got their attention now, right? For their action, right? What's this heart? Because again, you've been baptized. John baptized you in the spirit. Again, your heart is strong, right? You kept your temper when they was doing all that and that trying to persecute you, taking action to persecute you. That ended because you ascended. You leveled up. You leveled up, right? What's this anchor? Because I was your love. Again, was anchored in. They world is upside down, right? Under this investigation because of the Empress, right? The Empress and somebody else, right? Whoever worked with her, right? The Empress collaborations brought these people to their knees, right? Because she put the messages out. Paul was out there delivering the messages, right? What's these clouds in the reverse? The nine of feathers, right? This is when Peter denied Jesus. Then Peter remembered the word Jesus had spoken. Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. But in the King James Version, it said you will deny me 3 times or thrice, right? And he went outside and wept bitterly. Because what did Peter do? He denied Jesus 3 times. Matthew 26:75. Peter denies Jesus, the 9 of swords. They anxious. Peter was scared, right? He was scared. He was probably looking over his shoulders. He was probably seeing apparitions, right? He was haunted. He couldn't believe it, right? But he sought forgiveness, right? They manifested to so this person that denied you, right? That tried to intercept in your blessings, right? That's under investigation for greed. They're because of their power, right? They was trying to control people by doing like a form of slavery, oppression, right? Mental work, right? 10 of Swords, Queen of Swords, Page of Pentacles. 10 of Swords, Queen of Swords, Page of Pentacles. So somebody invested in, you know, they made an investment to betray the Queen. Yeah, that's why they in the 9 of Swords. So again, what was done in the past will always be done again. What's these swords in the reverse? It was a bad investment. 7 of Grains in the reverse, right? This the parable of the sower. Still, other seed fell on the soil where it produced a crop 160 or 30 times what was sown. Matthew 13:8. Again, this is the parable of the sower, right? So in the reverse. So what you sow is what you reap. So again, whatever energy you put out, right? Whatever energy you put out is what you want to get back. That is the laws of the universe. And I'm sorry to tell you, my baby, but Jesus Christ has the power of the universe. God gave it to him when he gave his life for the universe, for humanity's sake, right? So their temptations, their desires got them failed sacrifices, right? So whatever petitions they put up moving forward, it will never get nowhere. And you know, like I know. What's this what's this um tree in the reverse? They crucified themselves because they not rooted. They being crucified again because they wanted to persecute God because God was using you, right? They wanted to persecute God because God was using you, right? Again, depression. King David he had depression, right? King David balanced his fate, right? The energy this person in is the same energy on this itinerary experience. On this itinerary experience, listen to me. Only thing changed is the way shit is laid out, right? The imagery, right? What you see with your eyes, right? The land don't change, right? It never have, it never will. Spirit won't change, right? The frequency will never change, right? Your soul always come back. It's called the itinerary experience, right? I keep saying King David, King Solomon, right? Saul, right? Somebody was hunting you down using Solomon's knowledge, right? And God considered that a Saul. Spirit considers that a soul, right? The energy, the spirit, the frequency, right? And you are considered a King David. Because whatever they was doing to you caused you trauma to your, it made you depressed. It made you sad, right? It affected you. They was doing all, and King David felt energy work. And he talked to spirit about it, right? So that's I keep talking like again on the itinerary experience that you know about your soul recognizes shit. That's all it is. It's the soul, right? Tap into your higher self, bro. You're not you don't need nobody to read for you. Learn how to read the cards for yourself. That's when it's not haram because you're using it for yourself. You're using it for yourself. Again, 7 of Wands, you protected. Right? Not only that, you be out here defeating shit. Right? King David. Right? This is fated for you, bro. Thank God that you got your. Thank God. This time, on this itinerary experience, you moved a lot different, King David. And Spirit want to thank you for that, right? In front of the whole fucking world, because you got a new soul contract, King David. Whoever embodies this frequency, embodies this energy. Go read up about King David. Find out who you are, right? Saul, read up about Saul. Read up about Solomon, right? The energy, right? So the same frequency, right, that Solomon had control of with them demons, right? That's the same energy that Saul was in, right? Okay. What's this for a while? What's this magician reverse? The devil. Addictions, right? Addictions, low vibrational, demons, right? This magician that's in the reverse, they barren. They drowning. They dead. They dead or they dying or they facing all kinds of endings, right? What's this high priestess reverse? Yeah. Okay, that proposal. They sent up some weird ass proposals, right? This man did. This man that's low vibrational, that do dark shit, right? They sacrificed their own lineage, right? For greed, right? And control. Right? And that's a victory, spirit said. They trapped themselves. Yeah. What's this strength? Yeah. And they in a nine of swords. This person that wanted to play in that occult knowledge shit towards you. Moving forward, right? The strength. Keep your temper. King of Pentacles. Heart. Keep your heart open and strong. Moving forward. Keep your heart open, right? Because something is about to happen, right? Something that's about to happen that could make you want to, but keep your vibration high. Because this decision that you're about to walk into, this decision that you're about to have to make, is going to be for humanity's sake, right? But remember to move with love, right? Do not move out of your lower nature or ego, right? Talk to the divine about it. So start talking to the divine about it right now because you already know what this is, right? So talk to the divine about it. What's this world reverse? And they gotta walk away. They world upside down and they gotta contend with it, right? They gotta either, because again, this investigator got a hold of their asses, right? Right? You recovered the energy, so the investigators got a hold of it, and they foresee what's coming for them, right? What's this hangman? And we're gonna get out of here. Again, they know death is coming. Endings, right? The number 13, right? 12 and 13, right? The hangman is number 12, and it's coming in heavy, right? And the empress sat by herself and got a hold of the authorities, right? The empress sat by herself. The the empress strength that she gained when she was in solitude, she got a hold of the authorities, and they protected her, right? And who was the authorities? The empress got a hold of the divine, right? Through the conflict, right? And that's the sudden change, right? Love offer to the star, and that's an achievement, and they're exposed for what they fucking manifested. Their manifestations is playing out in their life. Again, I told you guys in the beginning of this video, I said that remember we had a Mercury retrograde similar to this back in February. It was like February 12th, 13th, something like that. And it lasted and it was only 28 days in February. But this one is different. This one is very different because it's hot outside. That means the boomerang effect, the backfire, that shit hot and fast. It's like it's coming across these people like zoop, like and hot, right? What's these? Right. Stated. Because King David felt it. And he talked to the angel of the Lord about what Albasam, right? Albasam and Ahithophel was having it sent to him, right? They was having it done. They knew the people that was doing it, right? So they went to him. And King David saw it in dreams, and he talked to the angel of the Lord about it. And the angel of the Lord told him, they ain't gonna touch you. You just keep your faith up, bro. Just mind your business. Right? Then when Absalom died, David was hurt. Even after the betrayals. Right? David cried for him because he loved him that much. Right? You love these people that much. But they have to be departed from you. Give me 5, sir. Death is here. Justice, redemption, death, dead, sunglasses, sacred ground in the reverse. Landed on follow the white rabbit in the reverse. They're not in sacred ground. They in the dark, right? The baron of criminals, right? These criminals, right? Again, it's investigation going on here. Giddy Nebo, spirit of the dead, wisdom and adversity, because to bring healing, and you're laughing at the spirit is laughing at them, right? The sunglasses, right? Oh, laughter has healing, joy, release, and resilience, right? Sunglasses, protection, hidden truth, observation, intuition, right? The sunglasses, you can see beyond the veil about on these demons. They at a crossroad because of their shadow, right? Again, the sacrifices that they did to their lineage, they followed the trickster's path. And the ancestors and their ancestors of the light said, respect their elders. They disrespected their elders. That's what I said in the beginning of the reading, right? They messed up. That's not your, that has nothing to do with you, right? Again, these Jezebel spirits, again. So, I'm going to tell you, that's what I wanted to say. I knows, and it's raw, right? The spirit The frequency never changed. God, spirit never changed. The word never changed. The land never changed. The rules never changed. The commandments, right? As above, so below, as within, as without. But those 72 demons, they're loose, and it's more demons, but those specific 72 demons, those are high ranking demons that King Solomon conjured up, right? And had control of. They're loosed on the earth. And that's why it's a lot of Jezebel spirits out here, this nymphs, right? Let me get through spirit. Yeah. They burned the bridge. It's a volcano again because they being chased. They trying to cross the bridge. These monkeys. Again, they being chased. Who they being chased by? The law. Baron the criminal. Justice. Right? These angels. Right? It's divine. But let me get through Holy Spirit. Unicorn. Right? Unicorn is right eccentric, right? It's a different type of horse. It's a horse, but right, this unicorn makes you reflect, right? This unicorn sees itself, right? Sees its sanctuary, right? Through their higher self, right? Right? Unicorns. Not only that, this unicorn got a gold chain on. That's rare. So you eccentric, right? And you make people reflect, right? On their ground, on their foundation. You make people reflect, right? And that's big, Spirit said. You're trying to assist with minimizing depression. King David suffered from depression, right? When you pull cards, you pulling from the card the facts about the imagery, the colors, and all of that, right? So again, this is law. We're doing a circle of life. The circle of life. I can't make this shit up. The circle of life, right? From the beginning. This shit been happening since the beginning. Depression, oppression, laws, how things go round and round in these partnerships and relationships, right? How folks be trying to sacrifice you, right? Well, that's all I have for right now. So we want to ask the Holy Spirit in the name of Jesus to send all of the energy back to where it belongs. We thank you for coming and we thank you for, watching as much as you watch. We thank you for your time and your patience. We thank Spirit and we ask Spirit for its protection, guidance, love, and we thank Spirit for the gifts. And again, thank you for being here. Thank you for liking and I say and I mean.